So you're wishing that we could go back in time and do that correctly? Is that put right things that once went wrong, Nick? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
There should be a time travel show about
Despite
that.
every time travel story I've ever seen telling me that is not a good idea.
It always goes so well.
Then all these villains from your alternate timeline start coming in.
Mm-hmm.
You got this one locked up. They're like, what's your name? Ketchup Man?
Next thing you know, you got a drawer full of Infinity Stones. Just
oh my gosh, that was like the most Twilight Zone-y thing.
And this is Alligator Nick. He'll be running editing now. A lot more hissing in it.
Let's be honest. We would all love to see Alligator Nick join the team.
Oh my gosh, the TV alligators?
Oh yes.
Are we sure he's Nick? He's white.
It's a really pale alligator.
What do you want? How many white alligators do you know?
What were we really supposed to be discussing? Obviously, without Randy here, we can talk about mostly just, how much Randy sucks.
What you can't tell you can tell your baby about your Irish Hobbit story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it would be really funny.
In a couple weeks, you'll be bigger than that leprechaun bastard.
Have you got like a book of dad jokes that you're learning these from now, or?
Actually, somebody gave me one of those. They are really sad to read because they're not funny, especially when you read them.
Like there's something about reading 50 in a row.
Oh, it's bad, dude. It's bad because what happens is you'll read that 51st one and you'll laugh and you'll look at yourself like you're a loser. You're such a loser.
Well, that's because you're adapting to your environment. That's why you can't read that book. Burn it.
It's a crucial time.
Or hear me out. Go to an open mic night and in the most monotonous deadpan voice you can pull without laughing, read as much of it as you can before they stop you.
Ask these guys. I once saw a Dog the Bounty Hunter episode that I thought he made a pretty good ethical point about policing, and I smashed my TV in.
We're done here.
I burned my eyes out. I can't watch this again. Oh.
I could feel the mullet growing out of the back of my head.
Yep. So this week we are episode 359, and we are without Randy's, who is at a board game convention, I believe. And we'll be talking about Shrink Next Door, Yellowjackets, and Mayor of Kingstown. 3 shows which I think earn the title It's a Living.
That works.
So that's what we're going to go with.
It would also be really funny if we would have done a Terriers rewatch and just very seriously did like a super detailed rip on it.
Motherfucker, Kyle, you spoiled one of my TV Diaries jokes.
Oh, damn it.
I rewatched the first episode of Terriers and was going to talk about it in depth to just stab Randy in the back.
I was going to say we go reverse where we just like talk shit about it sarcastically, but because we've seen it, like talk shit about all the details. So like referencing subplots and...
I was going to mention how much I loved meeting Donald Logue when I met him. And how nice he was, cool. And how I told him I had a friend, Randy, who hated his work.
I'm amazed I didn't come up in Randy's interview with him. I would have loved that.
Yeah, my friend said he used to like you, but then he realized you and Donald Trump have the same name.
I also feel like now is a good time to remind everybody at home that you can go over to our Patreon and make Randy and the rest of us, but it's mostly so that we can watch Randy do it. Watch anime. Yeah, you can pay $20 and we will watch the anime of your choice. Absolutely has to be anime. You cannot pick a live action show.
Wait a minute, Les, are you saying that they could schedule a TV Diaries where Randy is out, make us watch Terriers, and then make us talk about it without him?
Absolutely they could do that. That would be the live action.
Nuance in that request, but I could make it happen.
The live action exception to that rule. Otherwise, it absolutely has to be a really, really obscure anime. You need to go really deep in the seasons, something that's just baffling. It can, be as boring as possible, but also as weird as possible. That's helpful. Yeah.
Hey,
So,
there's a year of Stranger Than Fanfiction that I know these guys have not watched those shows.
right, absolutely. I mean, Nick made most of them up, but I think, no, I'm probably wrong. Patreon.com/TV dudes.
Have we
Yeah,
started?
absolutely. We've always begun. We've been recording this entire time.
Yeah,
Nick
I was
is,
just wondering we didn't do the name thing at the very beginning, but this apparently it's all just fucking chaos without
it
Randy.
is chaos without
Yeah,
Randy. There are
I
no
definitely.
rules.
I know you like the pre-show banter, so I was kind of hamming up my pre-show banter. If anything, I came loaded for bear. I was already like ready to go.
Now, I recorded you earlier with your child and what you said to it, and that was hilarious.
It had nothing to do with the podcast. It's just Nick outside with a shotgun mic.
I love you whispered that it would amount to nothing in its ear.
Dude, as long as CPS doesn't listen to this.
Yeah, I have no idea what Nick does after we send him audio for these things. Like, we just talk a bunch of shit on a shared video call, and then
Oh, I keep your microphones hot for another hour or whatever and just listen after that.
it's just
He's done that
gotta
David
be weird.
Attenborough thing where he owns versions of our voice now.
And Randy, what you did 2 weeks ago in your living room, shame on you.
Shame. I knew we watched Real Rob. And so I think that wraps up our Patreon plug. $1 an episode. You like us? $2 an episode. You really like us? $5 an episode.
What's the name of this episode? It's a living, or
It's
is the
a
name of this
living.
episode? What were we talking about?
What were we talking about? I blame Randy. That's the name of the episode.
God, the segue ride's real nice, real smooth.
Don't it though? And on that note, let's go over to that thing Nick made up.
Oh, we want to do TV Diaries first?
Oh yeah, let's do that. I was gonna make you make up a show.
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
All right, I'll go first with TV Diaries then if no one else is ready. No, wait, let's get Kyle go first. Let's let Kyle, because Kyle, we haven't seen you in a while. Like, what have you been watching while... Do you breastfeed the baby? I don't know how babies work.
Yeah, man, it is. My life is just Will Smith, out of Philadelphia into Bel Air, turned upside down, twisted around, all that stuff. Like,
I don't know if you want to mention Will Smith in a fathering or any parenting kind of conversation at all, but all right.
Oh my gosh. His tell-all just came out, and I've read a couple of the stories already. I am really kind of interested in diving into the goss. I digress.
That is the worst book I'm going to read cover to cover.
See, your kid is not filed for emancipation yet, is what you're saying.
Oh my gosh, there's stuff even more heartbreaking than that. No, we'll have to save that for our Patreon. It would be funny. We do a TV Dudes Book Club Patreon, the new Will Smith biography. But no, my TV watching has changed a lot since I last talked to you guys. I'm in bed by 9 p.m. most nights, so a lot of my TV watching happened after that. But I'm also up at 4 a.m. every morning, so it does give me a little bit of time to catch up, even though
so your Saturday morning cartoon watching has really increased. Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I've been putting that stuff on just in the background, like DuckTales and Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers, the originals. And then we read something that's as soon as your baby can see that focal length, you're not supposed to show them that stuff for 3 years because it overstimulates them. I'm like, how am I going to go 3 years without knowing what my kid's favorite show is? I can't do it.
Your kid just got to walk around in a sleep mask.
I fucking dare any parent to wait until 3 years old before turning on a TV in front of their child.
I would love to see an actual list of things I saw prior to 3 years old. I guarantee it's some entire ass late 70s, early 80s horror movies or something.
Well, I did dust off too. I've seen a bunch of random stuff. I'm watching SWAT. I watched the new Leverage, a little bit of that.
The new SWAT show?
Yeah, I watched
How
SWAT.
is that?
My wife got me hooked on it. It's very procedural, but it is a fictional SWAT team with a home base that is like part MMA gym, part Apple store. And from this home base, they go on adventures, and it's like about brotherhood, and everybody's got great muscles. You liked Chronicle, right? The Dane DeHaan, Michael B. Jordan movie.
Oh my God, is one of them psychic or
The
one of them
third guy,
telekinetic?
he's in SWAT.
Oh, I thought one of the SWAT
The
members
one
might
that
be
isn't
telekinetic. I
famous.
was like,
Got it.
I'm there for that.
Well, the one who
Yeah.
was like, I'll take a steady paycheck and just do this every week. You know, what do I got to do?
So-
Push-ups, keep my arms big. This will work.
Do they ever get swatted on like a random just home? Like, have they gotten pranked?
No, he said they
gotten-
follow procedure, Kyle. Kyle said they follow
all
procedure.
sorts of stuff. I mean, as long as like the first 5 minutes is something really bad happening to somebody, the next 5 minutes is them
Getting
talking about
swatted.
it, and the last 5 minutes is them doing something about it. Like, yeah, sure.
I would really love to see a very special episode where they're just standing in somebody's front yard going, yeah, man, that's the wrong fucking house.
Well,
That's all-
well,
you know
watching
what?
Mayor
That's
of
all
Kingstown, I was like, wouldn't it be great if just an episode of SWAT ended up like that? Like,
If this is the big CW crossover.
just pick up your gun. No, pick it up. It'll be fine.
Holy shit. Yeah, we'll get into that in a minute.
The other one that I watch pretty regularly is the first successful Batman TV show to ever be set to television, which is CBS's The Equalizer with Queen Latifah. I will fight you if you try to disagree with me, but Queen Latifah is the new Batman. And I love it every week.
I'd fight you, but I don't know how or why.
Dude, you'll watch this show, and after 5 minutes, you're going to be like, duh, that's Batman. Like, she's Batman.
Sure.
Like, I can't explain it, but you're just like, there's something that's Batman, and every time there's like, you know, something on TV, it's like, oh, that's not Batman. But then this happens, looks nothing like Batman, but it is Batman. I know that made
I
no
really
sense, but
I really love the repurposing of the word Batman into like a shui, just total, like, use it anywhere interjection word. Like, oh, that is so fucking Batman.
but you know what that means. Like,
I
if
do know what it means. Yeah, we all do know what it means. But also, it's one step away from being a theme in living room decor. Like, an IKEA is going to have a Batman energy section.
I mean,
And the living
It
room is
could,
done
yeah.
in a late aughts Batman.
And this couch makes you really feel like your parents both died in front of you.
Actually, Queen Latifah's mom is on the show, so I guess she's not totally Batman.
Oh,
But she's-
disqualified.
Totally.
Batman
she's so
can't have
Batman,
parents.
though. So Batman.
Just
That's
half
the
Bat.
thing. She's like so Batman. She's like, I saved my parents. Screw real Batman. I'm more Batman than Batman is.
Right?
No,
Rob Zombie
Equalizer's
song,
great.
Batman than Batman.
Still a little on the procedural side, but they have fun with it. Can you see? I'm not watching the prestige stuff. No, the two that
I see
saved-
that your TV watching is easier or
Fluffy.
like lower key, like something that is I don't know. What's the word I'm looking for here?
I don't know, but at 45 minutes, they're going to be screwed, and then they're going to solve
Yeah.
the shit out of that in the last 15.
And if I spend 10 of those 15 minutes making a pizza, no sweat off.
You can all you missed was an Apple Store clear glass
Mhm.
screen explanation of whatever was going to happen.
That's what's great about any CW show. You can go make a pizza for a good hour and a half, come back, and still know what the hell's going on.
Sometimes you don't realize you change shows. It's like, is this Krypton now? I have no idea.
I didn't know there was werewolves on Krypton.
Penn and
What the hell is
Teller.
this?
No, wait, this is a different show.
Actually, I watched a bunch of that too. The Fool
Fool
Us.
Us? I love those.
Gosh, there's some good ones.
No, it must be the same one. There's a lead character that's a white dude with a kind of a unkept beard looking thing. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, no, he's on a lot of these things.
The two shows that I am kind of excited that I finished. One is What We Do in the Shadows, season 3, which just had one of the. You guys have already talked about that, I'm sure.
Yes.
About Donald Logue as a fucking vampire. Yeah.
Loved that, and I loved that they like straight up kind of gave us a character death. I mean, they're probably going to back it up, but I'm like, that is one of the craziest ways I've ever seen somebody kill a character off.
I think unless they are gonna change actors for that. Maybe that's a thing that's happening. I don't know. What's Colin Robinson's actor?
Oh no, I think he may be like a CG character next season or something.
For a minute.
Because
I think they're just gonna regrow him, and he'll be back exactly the same, but maybe with like different pants.
I think it might go an episode, but I don't think they're going to let it take very long. But yeah, for a moment there, I really wondered though, like, does that actor have something else he wants to do?
It just it had such impact.
Well, face cave-in is kind of, there's different degrees of dead on TV shows of like,
right?
It's like he fell off a cliff, and it's like okay, so he's only kind of dead. Like,
like no, you put your fist through the recognizable
he doesn't have a
bit.
face anymore.
That's pretty dead.
That's pretty dead.
Even by TV standards, that's pretty dead.
Like the soap opera writers are mad at you. they have killed your character. You're gonna have to come back as a twin sister now or something.
Man, I could go off about What We Do in the Shadows because it's easily going to be on my top 5 this year. The other one I got to finish was Dave season 2, and oh man, it took a little bit to like kind of warm up for me, but those last 2 episodes in particular, the Rick Rubin episode. Either you guys finish Dave?
I haven't gone back to it. The Korea episode was so rough.
The episode I decried and talked shit about constantly. No, Kyle, I did not go back and finish it.
Oh,
I knew Nick didn't go back.
So,
but I just haven't gone back and watched Dave season 2. I did like season 1 though.
Okay, yeah, season 2 rewards you if you stick around for a minute. The first couple episodes, I'm not quite sure what's going on, except they lend great context to the last 2. But oh my gosh, here's the thing. Penultimate episode of Dave season 2 is a bottle episode. Very little context to the rest of the season. But like, if you wanted to just watch it for like kind of the crazy one-offness, what happens is he goes to legendary producer Rick Rubin's house. Rick Rubin of, Run DMC, Beastie Boys, I mean, Kanye, Jay-Z, I mean, you name it, Run the Jewels, like everybody. Tons of people. And Rick Rubin isn't in the entire episode.
He just goes to his house.
There's a guy who looks like Rick Rubin who like hangs out, and he's always like, "Hey, Rick," and it's like, "No, it's me." The person who is though is the guy from High Maintenance.
Oh shit!
He's like, that's great. Rick Rubin's like groundskeeper or whatever, and
that's great.
Lil Dicky's there to record an album, but they're like, you can't until you get your mind straight. So they make him do like all this crazy stuff, including like a sensory deprivation tank. And then he has some like crazy hallucinogenic, third of an episode that ends with him like fighting a version of himself that has been shaved completely bald, no facial hair, and is in a diaper, but can rap really good. Like Lil Dicky has writer's block, but then this like crazy powder version of Lil Dicky is like fire. No, that was fantastic. There was also this really fantastic Kareem Abdul-Jabbar episode. Let me see. There was one more that I was like, you will really dig. And then the finale had a really great, just kind of hidden in plain sight moment. The finale is called Dave, and it's all about Dave's relationship with Gaeta. And we've learned that Gaeta's real name is Devante, but his family calls him Dave. So, the whole time, like, he's hanging out with this Dave when really he's Dave. And it kind of parallels like a lot of the stories throughout the season. So even some of those weaker episodes from the beginning, like there's this thing going on where Dave has been given like all this money, this house, all this access, and he doesn't really do anything with it except be kind of a whiny bitch. Meanwhile, Gaeta is actually starting to build his career, but Gaeta doesn't have any money. He's like recording in his closet at his mom's house. And man, they even have a great moment where Dave gets a call from Gaeta's mom. It's like, he's having an episode. He's going manic again. Like, can you come over here and figure it out? Gaeta's bought like a new car and he's like dancing around the backyard and stuff. And Dave shows up thinking, oh, I got to take care of this guy. And it's like, no, he's shooting a music video. Like, he's not having a manic episode. His mom just
didn't understand.
Yeah. And like, Dave didn't understand either. Oh, heavy stuff. Oh,
I'll have to check it out.
That's what I was going to say. They did a flashback episode where it flashes back to Dave working in an ad agency. And they did a super realistic depiction of what it's like to work in an ad agency. Like,
I mean, that was his gig before any
exactly.
of this.
And then his roommate who designed the LD logo in season 1, we find out she was his art directing partner, and he was the copywriter on their team. And they like pitched work. They did mostly like bank stuff, but they like hijacked a Mountain Dew meeting and like pitched some like rap concept that got picked up by Mountain Dew, and that kind of started his confidence. But it is so funny seeing them interact in the ad agency, because it really is like points out a lot of the hypocrisies of it, and kind of the institutional nature of like being a creative person in that environment.
Yeah, it had dropped off my radar after that first episode, and I just hadn't gone back and picked up season 2.
If you're saying
Check
there's
it
a
out.
potential in season 3 that Dave isn't going to be about Dave anymore, I might be on board.
I'm almost certain that show's going to stay about Dave.
Hi, I'm Dave.
But which Dave?
If you're pitching me a Gata show, I'm in.
Yeah, I would actually love to see a Gata spinoff show. And so is that everything that you've shown your
Oh my gosh,
child?
it can't
to,
be
to break their
everything,
brain?
but God, that's what my life is now. That's my TV watching.
Just stuff that's on at 4 a.m. Which, hey, I mean, at least you're parenting in the time of streaming where you can pick the crap.
Yeah,
that's
everything's
on. At 4
on.
a.m.
We've watched a ton of movies too, but I know it's kind of out of our periphery.
Oh, that's basically half of my TV diaries, Kyle.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I was
movies.
say, and on that note,
ever since
I'll-
I've been on the show, it's been like half movie talk.
well, and I mean, let's be real. Like, can anybody honestly say what the fuck is TV and what is a limited series and what is book 1 of chapter 2 of a Netflix mini event or whatever the shit things are called now? So my TV diaries this week is entirely movies. I watched Big Night. Just needed to be swimming in Tooch for a minute there.
Stop trying to make swimming in Tooch happen. Tooch isn't gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. I'm gonna make Tooch happen. Swimming in Tooch is a thing. Don't Breathe, which is awesome, and it turns out I had seen at least part of it before, but it was great to watch again. Watched Nobody with Bob Odenkirk, which is a crazy fucking violent action movie. It's just basically Bob Odenkirk as sad sack John Wick. I fucking loved it. It has several really fun moments in it where they just really take an action cliche and do it just right. Watched some episodes of 30 Rock, some Parks and Rec, some Great News. Looking around for a sitcom I have not seen as often as Parks and Rec or 30 Rock. On that note, I watched a couple of episodes of How I Met Your Mother. And honest to God, I don't know that any show has ever aged that poorly that fast.
It's pretty insufferable, isn't it?
I mean, it's not just like, I always knew that it was a great example of that TV trope of...
At least Friends has the excuse of existing in the 90s.
Right? But like, this is not that long ago. I mean, Ted's a vanilla protagonist. I mean, he's the most boring, Piper center of the show.
Ted is an emotional monster.
But God, I mean, so many. It's not just hell. Barney's not really the worst character on the show. Like, the entire plot lines are just so needy, desperate dating, and that's the whole crux of the whole thing. It's hard to get through. So I didn't watch very much of that. Of course, The Homework, which we'll talk about in a moment. Then more movies. I watched The Holiday, a Nancy Meyers movie with this cast. You got Kate Winslet, Cameron Diaz, Edward Burns, Jude Law, Jack Black.
Oh,
It is an absolute train wreck. It feels like Nancy Meyers pulled her car up and rolled her window down and like yelled a movie while she was on her phone. I mean, it feels so half-baked. They spend the entire movie, like, Kate Winslet's just completely delusional. Like, she is recovering from a 3-year relationship that did not exist with Rufus Sewell. Like, her character was not dating this dude. Like, they dated 2 years ago and broke up, and she's just still crazy. It's insufferable. Also, somehow Edward Burns as Cameron Diaz's ex has convinced her that she is bad at sex. And so the entire time that she's sleeping with Jude Law through this movie, which is for some reason over 2 hours long, she keeps asking, like, and my previous boyfriend just said that I was really terrible at sex. And like, you're Cameron Diaz. She's not a bad actress, but no one's this good. No one's this good an actress. Like, I cannot buy it that lady is just like, that she either has this confidence problem or is this bad at bed. The whole movie just makes no sense. Like, you
It's
feel
like
like
if
they
you
had
tried
no
to
idea who they were
cast
casting.
Chris Hemsworth as a virgin. Just no one's gonna buy that.
Just no, like he's in high school just sad. Like, no one will talk to me. I've got these big stupid arms. Like, it's just ridiculous. The movie is so weird. And that said, like, it lurches back and forth between, oh fuck, Nancy Meyers absolutely knows what she's doing to get the scene to work, and then you get a breathing moment and go, none of this adds up. Wait, what? Speaking of none of this adds up, wait, what? I also watched In Bright Axiom, which is a movie by Spencer McCall, the same guy that did The Institute, which is what they based Dispatches from Elsewhere on. Don't watch In Bright Axiom. It's terrible. They did almost an exact redo of their previous movie, The Institute, which is great, and it's got a lot of meta kind of tricks in it. Like, you at one point you kind of meet the filmmakers. You can't pull that joke twice. So when I'm watching it this time in this movie, and they get to a point of like, so we just kind of wanted to make an art experience for people, we didn't know it would go this far. And like, nope, you pulled exactly this last time. So I know you knew it would go this far because you did exactly this 3 years ago. Better. So yeah, don't watch In Bright Axiom. Do go watch The Institute, which is a wonderful fake documentary. I have no idea. Everything that doesn't work in Bright Axiom was doubly annoying because I just seen them pull this trick off. Because The Institute is a great documentary where you really aren't sure where the line is on.
There should be like
What's scripted?
a law against that. There should be another DUI thing of like directing under the influence. Of like, no, officer, I swear I know it's the 7th time I've done this, but
Right? Oh god, that would have stopped Tarantino by now, I think. Watched Red Notice, which we'll probably discuss later.
Yeah.
Watched The Flash is back because I think we're continuing to see fallout from the pandemic year of kind of throwing the seasons off.
Jesus, you will not give up on Flash.
It's a 5-part
I can't quit
Flash
you,
episode
Flash.
where they're going to end the world. Yes, yeah, he speed runs around.
It's 5 parts?
Yes, it's called Armageddon, and it's
Oh,
5 part. Watched the Home Alone reboot, Home Sweet Home Alone, which was funnier than it had any right to be, and we'll probably also discuss later. On your recommendation, I watched Night Teeth, which you're right is a really fun movie that if they gender flipped it would be absolute trash. Like, you absolutely cannot gender flip. You're watching this guy make decisions of like, this is basically Stockholm syndrome. Like, are
yeah.
you falling in love with the villains of the clear villains of this movie? And then the weirdest thing I watched this week by far, I got invited to a friend's house on Saturday for a pay-per-view, which I had not really been around a group of people that wasn't like a wedding or a funeral in 2 years. And so it was odd in that regard, but it was AEW, which is All Elite Wrestling, Full Gear, their giant pay-per-view crazy ass championship thing this weekend. And it was awesome. Like, gotta say, not every match, there's definitely a lot of wrestling I don't give a fuck about, but I definitely get what was fun about that. That moment in an amusement park when you're a kid and you happen to be in the western area at the right time or whatever, and the giant cowboy shootout just fucking breaks out because like half the crew is, half the crowd standing around you are like stuntmen or stunt people or whatever. That's what watching wrestling, particularly AEW, because they really lean into the comic book bullshit that I guess WWE didn't want to do. And so it's just goofy ass storylines and stunt people doing crazy ass fighting that I found out actually today that one of the matches that we watched, the scripted ending of it was completely changed on the fly mid fight because one of the guys got genuinely knocked the fuck out. And like they played it off really well. Like if anything, you would have just thought, what I thought was like, okay, well this one the acting during the fighting isn't going quite as well. But like no, they were actually doing a really great job totally recovering a storyline on the fly in the middle of a 4-person fight when one person is off the ring and like completely unconscious and has been removed. Yeah, it's just absolutely insane. The guys that can manage to do all of these moves in any kind of sort of safe fashion is just fucking crazy to me. But that they can do it while also hamming it up and keeping their character going, it really is like watching like the best of like the Rock or the action movie type actor. I guess that's why so many of those guys can come off of wrestling, like Dave Bautista and stuff, because you can be doing these goofy things and keep up this weird shtick or keep the joke going while being athletic. Yeah, I was absolutely shocked. Had a lot of fun. Also, of course, they pepper through women's wrestling fights as well, and have had a weird thing where a portion of their wrestlers were stuck overseas during the pandemic. So I guess this entire night, the people with me watched all of this stuff, so they knew who all of these people were. But I guess a lot of these people had not been wrestling in like a year because they've been stuck in England or Japan or wherever the fuck. And so it was like a big reveal of a lot of like, oh shit, so and so hasn't wrestled in a year, with like all new outfits.
See,
and shit.
Les, that's what other like normal people feel like when they watch Marvel movies with you.
Exactly. Totally. I was the person who had never read a comic book going, so who's the hot lady?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Jamie Hayter? Okay. Cool. Does she win? We don't know. Yes, you do. Does she win?
Yes, you do.
Don't fuck with me. You know she wins or not. All right, well, probably not going to win tonight so that they can come back to it. Okay, cool. I mean, I read comics, man. I understand how the plots work. It's great. It's fine. You know, so-and-so can't win tonight because that's a terrible storyline. Just say that. Yeah, I really I'm growing to have an appreciation for wrestling. I'm not yet won over on anime. Wrestling's working a little easier. I think because I was into wrestling as a kid, it's at least somewhat. All of us, I think, were into at least 1 year of wrestling at some point when you were a kid. Either Hulk Hogan or Andre the Giant was wrestling.
Fuck yeah,
or...
dude! Like a Kane and Undertaker, the two brothers going at it. Hell in the Cell.
Oh shit,
Mhm.
Sting. So AEW keeps stealing people from WWE or bringing people back out of retirement who
From Vince
wouldn't work for
McMahon.
fans anymore.
He's so nice.
Yeah, he's so nice though. So like CM Punk is wrestling for AEW now, and like some people I'd actually heard of. Sting, the crow makeup looking dude who's got to be like 60, comes walking out, and he's like on someone's crew now. And so I'm like, holy fuck, they aren't really gonna have this dude like get in the ring and wrestle or something. And like, no, he pulls like an actual baseball bat out from behind his back, and then just proceed. Like his entire role in this was to just like help his dude cheat by beating the living fuck out of people with a bat, and it was hilarious. I have to say, like, the gag totally worked. It was a very Indiana Jones gun moment of like, Sting's here to wrestle you. Fuck that. Yeah, I cracked up. It was a lot of fun. We'll probably end up watching more wrestling.
Nice. I was big into the WCW stuff.
And so Nick, what all did you watch?
Well, I watched actually on your recommendation, Les. I'm surprised you didn't mention it. Black as Night.
Oh yes.
I love the I'm sorry.
I can't. I mean, on your recommendation could be a lot of things off of a long list of movies, several of which are, let's say, peppered in pranks.
Sure. It's how you have fun on the show. I have Stranger Than Fanfiction. It's Les's like Rochambeau of like movie picks.
Yeah. That time I got you to watch Ricky O or Wild Zero or
Wild Zero. Love is everything. Or what was the fucking catchphrase of Wild Zero? I don't know. Fuck. No one knows
man.
Wild Zero.
Oh, the movie's so good. So, what did you think of
Black as Night?
Vampires? Yeah.
I think that after about 50 minutes of a movie that that boasts Keith David in the titles, and you've seen him in a background scene, is like, hey, who's the main villain gonna be in this thing? Like,
they should have found a way to leave his name off the front credits of that movie, because he doesn't actually show up till the third act.
No, shows up. He totally says that line. That wasn't a body double in a trench coat, Les.
It's definitely not a different human being
It
with his
for
back to
sure
the
wasn't.
camera and an overdubbed line of Keith David dialogue. Absolutely not. I gotta say, watching Night Teeth and watching Black as Night in the same week, I kind of like the two different takes on vampire lore. I like how long the Night Teeth vampires take to burn, but I like
Oh, they take a
in
long
Black
time
as
to
Night,
pop.
I like how there's basically a like, no, as vampires age, we get less susceptible to sunlight, especially the darker you are.
Yeah,
And so like,
being black is kind
you
of a superpower.
yeah, I do hate that they make the same Wesley Snipe joke like 3 or 4 times. But it's weird because it's always literally the only character that does it is her brother.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, you are exactly the same skin color as her. And so like his Wesley Snipes joke is both like 15 years off, at least.
Maybe he hasn't watched a movie since 1998.
Yeah, he's been watering those plants.
Yeah, I think its structure, it suffers from the main, like the movie isn't confident enough with its own premise to not have the main character narrate you through absolutely everything that's happening.
Yeah, it's got a very Stand By Me narration thing going.
They even bring in a new character to explain vampire lore, but he doesn't explain it. You hear her version of it through visuals and her explaining it to you after he tells it to her. And I was like, God damn, can we just not have this girl talk for 10 minutes? Good lord. Yeah, what else did I watch? I watched Red Notice as well. I only watched part of Home Sweet Home Alone. I think that it's so far much smarter than I think it really needed to be at all with exactly its premise. They have to do so much backbending to make this premise make sense as far as getting a kid home alone. Like,
I was stunned that they found an even half-ass believable way to leave a child.
They worked in a cameo into one of their mechanics for why the cops don't show up.
I honestly, I thought that they would do exactly the first movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have been mad. I thought that's what, I thought that's all they were going to do. But this is like Mikey Day from SNL, one of the other SNL writers that wrote this thing. Yeah, they put in a lot of work to make it believable and to have the kid be like, well, maybe I don't want to get the cops involved. Like my mom sent away to fucking prison for leaving me here.
Right.
Well, and they made the kid kind of a little shit. But Kevin McAllister at the beginning of the movie, he was being kind of a little shit too.
Was he a little shit or was he just British? I couldn't tell.
It is hard. There is a very thin distinction.
And Devin Rattree coming back as Buzz.
Trout sniffer.
Like he is Buzz McAllister. He's not another character. He's got McAllister on, and like they sell home security systems now, and his brother's rich and fucks with him. It sounds like it's great. Like, oh no, every year on Christmas, my brother calls in a child left in a house on my patrol to fuck with me.
And then that person he's talking to goes, "You left your child alone in a house for how long? What?"
Well, that is a juicy cameo they set up for Macaulay Culkin if he wants to play a Mark Zuckerberg type CEO in the sequel, where now this guy, he's doing cloud storage, but maybe he's doing it for the security company.
I would love to see Culkin come back and do one of these. Honestly, his turn in American Horror Story this past year was so fucking rad.
Yeah, maybe a little less drug addict-y looking, but...
He's like, I refuse to shave or cut my hair. I'm going full Howard Hughes for this one.
Yes.
I kept up with Reincarnated as a Slime, which reached its, like, I don't know if it's like a half-season finale or whatever. It had a big to-be continued at the end of it. As far as our little slime hero is now officially a demon lord, which is a good thing, I think. I'm confused by this show.
Anime.
I also kept up with, I'm really enjoying Mrs. K's Dragon Maid. Into it. It is problematic in some areas, but I swear to God, it's pretty funny. I've been having a hard time sleeping this last week, and you know what I've like really been relaxing and falling asleep to is MST3K. The Return.
Mm.
It's like I've watched these like 100 times, so I know everything was going on, but it's just a pleasure to listen to the jokes and stuff. So I'll just listen in and then just go to sleep while listening to it.
It's like Nick's talk radio.
Yeah.
I do that with the IT Crowd. I can watch that like in the background while I'm falling asleep.
sure.
Anything.
Yeah. The what else did I watch? I kept up on Last Week Tonight. I watched the Leatherface movie, the prequel to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was pretty awful. But then again, it had Steven Dorff in it, so it's not like it basically told me it wasn't going to be good up front.
It telegraphed that punch a little bit. Yeah.
Steven Dorff basically goes to the screen like, "Hey, you knew it was going to be good. If this was going to be good, I wouldn't be here." So, and then a Mupdate. We're trying to keep up the Mupdates, even though that we're done with the movie marathon. I watched the Muppets versus the Dixie Chicks Family Feud, 2001.
Dixie Chicks or Chicks and Friends. Buck Owens and Keith Urban are there.
Unless I was wrong, there's not one episode. There's like 5 episodes.
Oh my god.
They did it for a straight week.
A whole week. Oh my god.
And it was like a month after 9/11.
That's right. It's like November of 2001, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like
Yeah,
we were in
like a month
Afghanistan
and a
for like
half.
about a month, I think.
TV was barely the fuck back. And this is what they went with.
Because I was wondering, how have I never heard of this? And then I saw the date and I'm like, that might have had something to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
People might not have been ready to watch the Dixie Chicks and the Muppets play Family Feud.
But didn't you say, I've got a couple of pretty great texts from Nick while he was watching this. Didn't you say the Muppets just crush it?
I watched the last one first, not knowing there was more. So I was like, apparently in the earlier ones, the Dixie Chicks did much better. So they weren't, but in the last episode they did, the Muppets fucking killed them. Just fucking destroyed them. And I don't know if it was like some of it must have been scripted because like I think it was what's his name? Louis Anderson was the host.
Mhm.
And he's going back and forth and he's calling Pepe a shrimp and it's like, I'm a prawn. Okay. And they have Pepe come up to press the button for Family Feud, and I went, wait a minute, I see a problem here. Because the Pepe puppet does have a hand, but it's with sticks and can't press it down. So what he does is like, it's okay, I'll push it with my chin, okay? And so him and the Australian guy, the country
Keith Urban.
Keith Urban also puts his chin down on the button, and there's a long, like 10 seconds where they're just looking at each other, dead-faced, serious, with their chins over the Family Feud button.
That's great.
And then Louis Anderson puts his chin down too. And I was like, this is some great fucking television right here. Yeah, Bobo the Bear really brought it home for them at the very end with the quick play. They had it's like name a thing a frog might do, and I think they were like, should we pass or play? And Kermit's like, I don't know, I think we might want to play this one. I feel like it might be up our alley. And just the Kermit, they must have like mics underneath there, and because sometimes the Muppets will move close to one another, and what I realize is that they're cheating. The Muppets, because they're not supposed to talk to each other, right, during their turns.
But the puppeteers underneath the
stage
can.
But the puppeteers underneath the stage are totally cheating and going and whispering answers to each other.
So they've got better setups and shit.
The Muppets are cheating on Family Feud for charity.
Well, what was their answer on the frog one? I'm waiting for them to guess things like schedule a variety show.
There was only a couple of them when
things a frog do.
When they didn't have an answer, there was a couple of them where they went funny, where they like, I don't know what to say here. So like, Johnny, the Italian stereotype Muppet, like said cannolis for one. But mostly they're out to win it, guys. They are like, they're in it. They're yelling at their own team like, what the fuck kind of answer was that?
There's a charity on the line here.
Kermit's trying to wrangle them together like this fucking shit. Putting you back in the monster part, Sweetums. Get it together.
That's great. should have left you in the parking lot again.
I did miss Gonzo and Rizzo the rat. I thought they should have been contestants, but they did have Salmonella the monkey and the Fraggle or Frackle Mo Frackle.
Oh yeah.
And they were through, like, I think most of them. Then they switched out for the fourth member a lot. There was either Pepe, Bobo the bear, Johnny the Italian stereotype Muppet, whose name I don't remember, and I think one more. Oh, the fucking mad scientist from Muppets in Space.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Which I didn't know was like a regular character, but I guess maybe this was about the time in Muppets in Space, so maybe they were trying to make him a thing. I didn't know his name was Dr. Phil.
Yes.
Yeah, they call up Dr. Phil, and I was like, what? Is that a bit? I guess I don't get it.
Yeah, and I forgot what is his last name. It gets even weirder than that. Phil Van Neuter.
I would. Okay. And he's in charge of the rat. Sure, okay. And I thought they missed out on an opportunity of like a secret show or whatever where they just had the Swedish Chef and Beaker on for Muppets, and like they're just killing it. It's just like, that's exactly right, Beaker.
Just every one of the answers be me. Totally lost opportunity there.
And so like, okay, so one Swedish Chef and one Beaker were surveyed for this question, and the most common answers were Fruity Bird.
Can I see Orbit Bird on the board?
Oh, I'm sorry, we were looking for Bork. Bork was the number one. Yeah. Bork or Borkin or some version of Bork.
Bork. Yeah.
Les, we're writing another Muppet. Well, not movie,
Damn
it's a game show, but we're writing it again.
We got to stop. I don't own any of these puppets.
Yeah, that was the highlight. That was my week.
All right.
Fantastic.
Well, we know that there's one other thing that you watched or dreamed that you need to tell us about, and that would be, is truth stranger than fanfiction?
Imagine, if you will, a reality containing television programs so bizarre they are indistinguishable from the ravings of a madman. Is the show you are about to hear simply a fabrication in the mind of a man with clearly nothing better to do with his time? Or is the truth indeed stranger than fanfiction?
Oh, you sure you want to go with that? We are running a little bit longer.
We are running a little bit long.
I'll tell you what.
It's up to you.
I can keep it a short one.
All right. I say, or you can save it for Randy. We can tell Randy that this one was so good.
No, I made up a couple short ones just for a situation like this. So we're gonna have fun with Kyle here. It's gonna be a game show one.
Ooh.
All right.
So you're gonna try and guess which of these Japanese game shows is real and which one have I made up.
Okay.
What we have here first is, let's keep it food related. All right.
Oh.
The first game show is Candy or Not Candy. The object of the game is to pick from 3 objects. What is candy and what is not candy? And the only way you can check is by biting down and taking a huge chunk out of it. So when these people, like, they'll bring up a shoe, an end table, and a picture frame. One of them is made by a candy company out of very realistic looking candy. Like the amount of effort that has gone into this, because one guy bites into a shoe and it turns out to be fudge and looks just delicious, but also looks like this man is crazy and chewing on a shoe. And yeah, that is the entire thing. And if you guess wrong, you bite an end table and I guess maybe crack your teeth. I don't know what the dental insurance is like on this show.
That was the first thing that popped into my head was like, what is the what waiver do you sign to prevent them from paying for any dental?
Also, like, yeah, what about the material in that? Is there asbestos in any of that? Like wall? Like, they bite some wall stuff and like doors, and one of them, like, there's like, I don't know how they did this, but one of the door handles in one of the rooms they're entering is also candy. He bites it off, and like the door handle is fucking candy. And it's like, what?
Was it in the Simpsons where Homer goes to the Willy Wonka dreamland and like They tell him everything's candy, so he just like grabs the dog that's jumping
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
There's like a deer jumping along or something. He picks it up and eats it.
Yeah,
Like
it's all candy. That red stuff, that's just licorice fluid.
the co-host.
The All right, and then show 2 is it is eating lasagna while on a trampoline. That's the show. That's it.
How hot is the lasagna?
I don't know. Yeah, well, it's not always lasagna. It's some sort of pasta. Like, it's some sort of dish that is messy and hard to eat. And if you eat yours first, you win some amount of yen. I don't know how much money they're going for. It's all like make-believe money to me, but...
There's no monetary prize, you just win.
Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't speak Japanese. But yeah, they have a trampoline, and then they dress up these people in business suits for some reason. It's so they can get them dirty. Yeah, that's the reason.
That's it too.
And they have them eat pasta while another team member jumps on the trampoline and tries to knock him off, you know?
Oh, so you're not alone. Like,
no.
Can, like,
no,
like
you're not
super
alone on
bounce
the
you.
trampoline. That's the twist of it, is that the other team member is on the fucking trampoline with you, jumping around. He can't touch you, but, like, because if he touches you, he's disqualified. But he can jump his ass around as high and as often as he wants. So... he's trying to make it you so you're slower at eating the pasta than he is when he gets his turn. And of course they have to use another trampoline. They transfer to another trampoline donated by whatever Japanese company, because they ruin every trampoline they ever do this on. I'm pretty sure those trampolines can never be used again because the shit gets in there and it's like they don't clean it. There's no cleaning it. They just go on to another trampoline. That trampoline is done. It's done, son.
The previous one's just burning in the background.
Guys, which of these food-related game shows is real and playing in Japan, and which one is only in my mind?
I would watch both those. Kyle, what do you think?
I think the candy one is real.
I have seen some crazy fucking...
Any particular reason why?
Costume shit.
Because I would do that. I would watch that. I would do that. Now, the lasagna
But you wouldn't
thing,
watch or do eating lasagna on a trampoline?
That seems like some Tim and Eric shit. So, I mean, Tim and Eric's is real. So I guess, that's probably an argument for it being the real one. But I don't know. That candy one, like, I could just see, not only is that, like, interesting, but I could see it being transcultural. Like, that works over here. It works over there. It works everywhere.
Well, Kyle, you are the expert. Les, what do you think?
I think they're both real. If not, then we could find somebody whose stepdad owns a trampoline store or something and make a deal for a sponsorship and start that other one right up now.
Kyle remembers the first time I did this where they were both real.
Yeah, now
I didn't do that again.
Okay.
I didn't.
Fuck, I'm surprised we're not eating pasta on a trampoline right now.
Oh, I can see it.
Get this guy some lasagna and some fucking puppers.
I went to a party one time that the theme was bouncy castles and food on a stick.
Oh, that seems like a bad idea.
Wow, those are conflicting themes.
Did anybody else get told when they were a little kid, like in grade, to not like run down the hall while drinking from like a straw, like out of a juice pack or anything? Because like some kid somewhere had like fallen and the straw had gone into
urban
their brain.
legends.
That's like having a Hindenburg party where the theme is fireworks. That's not great. Like, we're talking about just accidents waiting to happen. I'm sorry, Les, did you guess one way or the other? Or?
Both real.
They're both real? Les, you are wrong, because I told you they're not both real.
Yeah, you did.
They're both real.
No, they are not. One is made up.
I'm making one right now.
I just applied for the copyright, so they're both real, you son of a bitch.
Some of the things in my house might be candy.
Kyle, you are 100% correct. Candy or Not Candy is a real show that you can watch on YouTube right now.
Oh, I am
Candy or
checking that out later.
And the other one is not real. I made it up, but I made it up when I saw another show that was a man eating spaghetti in a laundry machine.
What?
And that one is real.
The man show also used to just end with like 5 minutes
Girls
of,
on
of girls
trampolines.
jumping on trampolines.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's why I didn't like. Oh, I don't think you guys will believe the one that's real. I have to make up one that seems more believable. Because there is a real Japanese game show where they just shove a guy into a laundry machine and tell him to eat spaghetti. I don't know what the point of the game is. I don't know if he's winning money or if he's just being tortured.
I don't know. There has to be some like fetish about watching people eat food and like do stuff that I just don't understand.
Well, from what I've seen on my Pornhub histories, yeah, there's a whole food thing on there. But candy specifically, I'm not sure about that. Les, why do you look horrified?
because I just found Candy or Not Candy on YouTube.
Oh,
So the first clip they show, they're sitting like on a stage, like it's a game show, and they brought out a shoe to bite into.
Mhm.
But the next clips, they just look like they're
in a room, and some of
this
it's
woman's
candy.
just on her hands and knees, and she's biting the corner of a glass coffee table
And it just
to
comes
see
off.
if it's candy. It looks so much weirder when they're just in a room.
Yeah,
and
that,
like,
that glass snaps off, and,
like,
you're
just-
like,
just
wow, I
going
hope
up
she
to
made the
random
right
things
decision
and, like,
there.
and like you can see him kind of like test it like prospector gold. It's that show is so fucking weird. Oh, bravo Japan.
oh my gosh, that is entertaining.
Indeed.
You are welcome.
Yes. So yeah, definitely gotta say thanks, Nick, for expanding our horizons with whatever the fuck that is. And we should definitely make that trampoline thing happen, though not with Pyrex dishes. I think it'll get people killed.
Mhm. Yeah.
I need a real, don't need no blue candy. Red candy, blue candy, no candy, diabetic, huh? I need a real, don't need no blue candy. Red candy, blue candy, no candy, diabetic, huh? I need a real, don't need no blue candy. Red candy, blue candy, no candy, diabetic, huh? I need a real, don't need no blue candy. Red candy, blue candy, no candy, diabetic, huh?
So this week on our actual shows, we've got 3 just delightful programs, lighthearted, all the one. I mean, each one more joyous than the next.
Out of the 3 shows, which one is candy, Les?
Which one is candy? I'm going to guess Yellowjackets.
You might be right.
I might be right. So let's start with Shrink Next Door, starring Sexiest Man of the Year, Paul Rudd, as well as homeless person Will Ferrell. He's not. His character just looks really bad in this show. And Catherine Hahn, Agatha. So, Kyle, I'm assuming that you did not subject your infant child to Shrink Next Door
No,
on Apple
I
TV.
did not get around to this one.
Nick, did you get a chance to watch
You
this?
bet. I watched all 3 episodes that are out, and let me tell you,
I watched the first 2.
I probably won't keep up with it. I don't think I think it's getting by a lot on Paul Rudd's charisma.
Mm-hmm.
Because Will Ferrell's playing the straight man, which is a role he can do very well. I think people forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
But his character's just straight up not very charismatic.
His character is a black hole of like interest.
One of my favorite Will Ferrell fix is that Stranger Than Fiction.
Yeah, this is even more cranked over cranked than that. But yeah, this is definitely into that mold of like, oh yeah, Will Ferrell can actually do some poignant dramatic stuff. But yeah, Paul Rudd has got like the, hey buddy, did you see my photo with this famous person? I met him once. Like 80s energy that's fucking infectious.
They also make him so stereotypically Jewish. Like,
oh man,
you got your real mensch here, yeah.
Is that a Ralph Lauren? Yeah, Lipschitz. That's his real name.
Lipschitz, this is his real name.
Yeah, he's so. It's.
And then between him and Catherine Hahn, I'm like, is anyone offended here? Is this crossing a line?
And they lay the 80s on. I mean, like physical thick. Like the 80s is everywhere in this.
It's on the camera lens.
Yeah, it's so many bell or slightly like wide cut jeans, and Catherine Hahn looks freaking awesome. In her like full get up.
Well, she just borrowed one of her outfits from WandaVision.
Right. I don't feel like this is a how did this get greenlit? Nothing is happening show like Mr. Corman was for me. Of like, how did you sit in a room and just say, well, I've got an idea of a kind of half bored middle aged white dude, and like sounds like genius. Let's watch it. Like I don't understand how they got greenlit, and this has not got a lot more going on for it than that. Outside of the charm of the actors, like it's just kind of a schlubby, sad Will Ferrell whose dad just died, having panic attacks and going to his shrink who immediately crosses a bunch of ethical boundaries and is definitely taking advantage of him, but not in a bloodbath way, just in like a minor league friendship money betrayal way. I mean, this guy's not Bernie Madoff or
It's
anything.
a couple steps below being
pretty
actually
low.
sinister.
Yeah. Like I'm not sure in episode 2, I'm not really sure that Paul Rudd, he's definitely crossing ethical lines and taking advantage, but I'm genuinely not sure that he realizes what he's doing exactly.
Yeah.
Like I think his wife knows that he's a bit of a user, but I don't think Paul Rudd gets it. Like I think he's that guy. And so like he's the villain of the show, but I don't hate him yet. And the show opens with like a flash forward, flashback thing where Farrell clearly fucking hates him by the end of this.
Yeah, he's burying a cow the dude bought in a fucking
yeah.
And
Yeah.
like the Paul Rudd is totally taking advantage of this guy, but also everything he says in that therapist room to absolutely every person is right. Like he's extremely good at his job. Like even when Catherine Hahn gets in there, he's actually actually this dude is nailing it. Like
he cuts through the bullshit real fast. He just then is like, hey, you know, we could we're out of time and I'll have to charge you for another hour. You know what? If you want to pay for the other hour, I'll let you go to lunch with me and we can just wrap this up.
Yeah.
And so like he constantly crosses these small things of like, are you paying this dude to hang out over lunch now?
But also, you start to discover Will Ferrell is such a mark. It's like one of those. I think a mark he's such a mark that's such a mark that he created a con man.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, that's kind of the vibe you get.
Paul Rudd had the skills, and he just can't resist with Will Ferrell because it's so easy. Like, he might have to put work in on his other patients to take advantage of them. And, yeah, but Will Ferrell, it turns out, like, you realize he owns a business, his family left him some money, but you don't realize how rich he is until, like, the 3rd episode, where Catherine Hahn breaks into his apartment and steals a bunch of jewelry. And Paul Rudd asks him how much, and he's like, I don't know how much it was worth. Probably about $500,000 easily. And it was like, it was $500,000 worth than jewels was sitting in a shoebox in his fucking closet.
Wow.
And it was like, what? And Paul Rudd's eyes like literally light up. Like it's I feel like Scrooge McDuck somewhere also got hard of like how much money this guy must have. And he takes him to a fucking summer house, and Catherine Hahn hates the new therapist. And
she initially told him to go see. So while Paul Rudd's getting his hooks in, Catherine Hahn is still like, oh my God, you're going to go see him again?
But also,
wow,
when you realize that she's been depending on him, she's been taking care of him, but also kind of been leeching off him this entire time too, with the trust that's in his name. And the parents left it to him because he's the responsible one, because it sounds like Catherine Hahn had already tried to make something of herself and failed a couple times.
But yeah, fixing her pushover brother isn't working out
as well. And her response to trying to protect her brother is to break into his apartment and steal his shit. And I was like, okay, I get that you're mad, but you also have destroyed any credibility you have with this guy now that you had before. Now he won't listen to a thing you've said because you've stolen from him. You're no longer trustworthy. And it doesn't scream like you're really protecting your brother, more like you're protecting your nest egg. And when they're both like the therapist is trying to get rid of Catherine Hahn, the Catherine Hahn is trying to get rid of the therapist. And I'm like, you know what? They both are right. They're both right. They're both terrible.
Both of you should be out of his life.
But also, Will Ferrell is so rich and his problems really aren't that significant. And he's not really doing anything with his money anyway. So I don't really. I'm like, I should hate Paul Rudd for how much he's charging and getting over on this guy, but honestly, it honestly must be nothing to him. Like and if you were to tell me I could pay Paul Rudd to be my friend, I would seriously look over that contract and check my finances.
Yeah, that was my problem. By the end of Ep 2, I was like, I think the only really unethical thing here is that Paul Rudd ought to just flat out say this is what it costs to be your friend.
Because I think he earns that money.
Because I think Will Ferrell would do it, and yeah, it's not he really is getting something from it at this point. I feel like the plot of this, the arc of this, is that he, I guess, takes over Ferrell's life to like a Eugene Landy, Brian Wilson level.
Is it weird that I don't want to continue watching because I don't want to see that happen? Like, I don't want to not like Paul Rudd.
I'm in the same kind of boat.
The strength of the show is also the weakness.
Yeah, I don't want to see the villain fall. It's a problem. Speaking of villains failing and shitty siblings, Mayor of Kingstown over on Paramount Plus, which has Jeremy Renner, Hawkeye himself,
when's the crossover with Mayor of Easttown?
Right, as well as the coach of Friday Night Lights, and I guess part-time Inhuman. So, and Diane Wiest, of course, shows up. Nick, did you watch any of this?
I watched one episode, yes.
I watched 2 of this. What about you, Kyle?
I've seen The Hurt Locker.
All right, I'm going to give it to you. So I almost turned this off in the first 10 minutes, like Big Dog style. I mean, like, at least they weren't like eating a sandwich in an ASMR mic, but it had that same like, we're so in love with the grittiness of what we do, these rats.
Well, it also starts off with main character narration from Jeremy Renner, and I'm like, Jesus
which
Lord.
Literally, Nick and I had just had a conversation of like, okay, so did you not figure out how to visually show me this thing, or why do you have to have this fucking narration? And yeah, and it's just like, these rats in this prison, if they didn't get on me, but I'm the mayor of Kingstown. And it's just so fucking much.
It's funny, though, because that narration doesn't go through the rest of the episode, and I could kind of use it for some of the slang they're using. Because they're talking about FedExing a package over the wall of a prison, and I'm guessing that's their code for, like, getting something over or smuggling it.
They're literally, like, I think they're sending, like, a letter in and out, like, through a... but like you can, but like the biggest you can bring in is a FedEx thing, and they can only weight-wise, you can only put like 2 ounces of weight in there.
Oh,
because the guy's like, he says like a whole brick. He's like, it's an envelope, dude.
It's an envelope. You can't do like he wants to put a kilo in there.
Yeah, but yeah, so basically, it's this one jurisdiction somewhere. I can't remember where the fuck the show's supposed to be placed. That is very foggy and dismal.
It's a
I'm gonna say
whole
Pennsylvania.
Town or some township that has like 4 prisons right in close proximity to each other.
It's like 10 prisons.
Oh shit!
In a single county.
Wow.
Yeah.
Or like in a or 2-county area or some shit.
The economy of this entire place is based off of this prison system.
Everything is this set of prisons. And
the people that work in the towns and the shops are ex-prison people.
It's all, yeah, it might as well be a company town, but it's a lot of companies. And then you've got so you've got a real mayor to this city, to Kingstown, but I don't think we've seen him in 2 episodes that I've watched, like, at all.
Well,
because that dude does nothing.
No, because it's all run by these 2 dudes, these 2 brothers that are in their words, they're keeping the peace and keeping things together, and I guess sort of accomplishing that, as far as there's not gang fights in the prisons as much. Like, there's the guards have protection with them, but some of the prisoners also have protection from them.
They negotiate to make sure that, like, the cop, like, when some prisoner beats the shit out of some guard, like, they go negotiate to make sure that the cops don't start a fucking gang war.
I do like that they treat the cops and the guards like their own separate gangs.
As equal gangs.
Because they treat them the same way they treat the gang members they go see later, as far as did they go to the Crips or something?
Yeah, they go to the Crips. That's where Who Bunny runs.
And all those interactions are exactly the same. With the
yes, they talk to they have to talk to the cops exactly like they have to, and they purposely, they aren't friends with either side, really.
No, it's
and
just
and like because they're trying to maintain this.
they're just a
And they've
neutral
got this,
party the other people can trust so that this all works. Like, they're
yeah,
just a
and so like
middleman that can...
Renner's an ex-felon, and his brother is basically the mayor, like the fake mayor that
Yeah.
really is the one that runs all this. And they do favors back and forth over years for various criminals and shit. And they definitely think that they're good guys for doing this, even though they've done some bad things. They're keeping the peace. They don't make that much money off of it. They feel like they're in the right. And you're watching the whole, at least first episode and into the second one, of like, I have no idea who the villains are. I mean, you are exactly as bad as the dudes you are
Well,
lecturing.
they're trying to say how much worse it could get, but we don't see that, so it's hard
No,
to
we don't
really...
see that.
Because, I also watched the rest of Arcane this week too, which also had a premise like this of the Undercity and Overcity trying to maintain a peace with each other, and the heads of these guys like making a secret pact in order to smuggle stuff and like to keep this, what they say is peace, but it's also keeping the system the exact same and not changing anything and not making anything better. And
yeah, so
if
at the
you
end
have
of the
to be
first
willing to
episode,
let things get a little worse so that they could get better in order to change the system, and people aren't willing to do that for this because their kids and their brothers and cousins are in this jail system or work there, or their lives are actually on the line. So everyone
the
wants to
system's
keep
not
it.
actually going to change.
Everyone wants to keep it at what the level is right now.
Yeah, in the first few minutes, it was so much, I almost turned it off. By the end of the first episode, one of the brothers is dead. The other one is having to decide to step up or not into a role that will absolutely end with him dead too. Like, everybody's
Yeah.
like, that's you too, right? Like, don't do this job. This job only ends with someone you're helping will eventually fucking shoot you.
And you get the sense he doesn't even like it that much. Like, he was doing
Yeah.
it to just help protect his brother.
And like, I'm not sure that it's the cops or the criminals that'll do it, but like, someone's gonna kill you if you take this job eventually. And so you kind of watch in episode 2 him start to take on the job while people are like, what the fuck are you doing? Don't do this. And the show gets more interesting, I feel like, in that, because even the names of the episodes are like the beginning of the end or something like that. I mean, like, it seems like the brother dying and Renner stepping in, like where we start the show, is going to be the start of all of this coming the fuck apart. Whatever uneasy truce they've had, I think is done.
Because Renner is not his brother. Renner is when a mob guy comes to him and like after his brother gets killed and wants him to like, hey, did you get the money though? Like the money that got stolen when his brother got shot. Like, no, it's with the cops. Can you get it? No, I can't get it, and I'm not gonna get it. And he's like, well, that's gonna be a problem for you. And he just smashes a beer bottle in this dude's face and pulls a gun on him.
Stands over him in a bar, in a full bar with a gun.
In a bar in the middle of in the public, and no one calls the cops. Everyone just looks and looks the other way and goes, "Don't you ever fucking come here and threaten me again. I will put you in the ground."
For the same incident, the other side of it, because he's caught in the middle, the Crips sent a guy to his house.
Yeah.
And he gets in his car, drives to the lawn where the main guy for the Crips sits in a lawn chair next to a cooler full of meth, and he drives his car straight into the chair.
Damn.
Like if the dude had not gotten up and bailed, like, he just runs the car into the cooler and then gets out and like, send somebody to my fucking house. So like, you can tell that the brother was definitely a lot calmer negotiator, and Jeremy Renner, I think they mentioned it, has like been a felon, so he's definitely coming at these guys differently. It's a dark show. It's weird. I don't know that I like it, but it was an interesting couple of episode watch so far. If you like cop shows, I think, or gritty crime shows, I think you'll have a higher tolerance for this probably than me. I might enjoy it.
That moment where he's asking the cops to kill this guy, if he goes to prison, he's just gonna kick up his fucking feet and laugh about this. And I'm like, okay, I think you know the prison system is not exactly a luxury cruise.
No,
but
the scene where they deal with the guy that shot his brother is dark.
It's dark. Yeah, the whole SWAT team is in on it. The whole police force must be in on it, because they break into his place. The SWAT guys tell him to pick up his gun, point it in the air.
Dude's on the couch.
Yeah.
And the gun's next to him on a table, and they're like, pick the gun up. Yeah.
And now just slowly draw it towards me. And I think the guy like knows like, oh, I'm so fucked. And
Yep. They're like, put it straight up in the air.
he
now lower
starts to pull
slowly
it down,
towards
and then
them.
they just pop him. They just clip him like,
Yep.
and
it's like 2 minutes of knowing what they're doing and just watching it unfold, going,
and
Jesus.
the police chief comes to him and it's like, hey, it's done, and it's done the way you want to do, because he got to see it coming. And it's like, it's fucking vigilante outlaw justice.
And that's their concession to not just letting Jeremy Renner go in there and shoot the dude.
Yeah, that's their compromise.
That's they're like, no. That would be
immoral.
Insane. That would be immoral and illegal. But just having the SWAT team do it.
The SWAT team goes in there and makes him point at him, and then it's nice and legal. See?
And so that's Mayor of Kingstown.
Is it anything like Training Day? Because that kind of sounds a little bit like a Training Day type scenario.
Very much got a Training Day vibe.
Except there's no one as charismatic to really sell you on the. Denzel Washington goes through a lot of that movie before you realize how much of the villain he is.
That's true.
It made me want to go watch Black Donnelly's again. I'll be honest.
I watched Denzel Washington shoot a guy in the chest point blank with a shotgun, and then the scene later he said something about chess not being checkers, and I still was on his side.
Right.
Jeremy Renner does not have that. I'm like, nah, I think you're a bad dude.
No. So the last one we got to talk about, speaking of really bad people, is Yellowjackets over on Showtime, which, Kyle, there's only one episode of this out, and it's directed by Karen Kazuma, who directed Eon Flux.
Oh, that's much.
I saw her name pop up at the end and was like, Eon Flux. We watched that because Kyle fucking loves it.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Kyle likes Eon Flux?
The movie.
Yeah, it's my guilty pleasure.
Wow.
We were as confused as anybody.
We're already running long. We can't get into that. We can't get into that.
we got into it on Patreon one time.
I'm choosing to let that go.
So, Yellowjackets is about a team of high school girls soccer team who are flying to nationals and get shipwrecked and go all over the flies, basically. And we're seeing them in flashbacks then prior to the trip, and now as adults when they clearly have all agreed to keep some secret of whatever the fuck they did, which is obviously they ate a fucking classmate.
Well, it looks like they split up into some sort of tribe mentality.
But it looks more complicated than just we all got hungry together and decided to eat the weak kid.
And it's hard because they show some characters that are alive, but they don't specifically say who's dead. So
no, and they dole those out through the episode, so that there was a moment where there's a character, Missy, that's like their equipment girl that's super nerdy, and I really thought that they ate Missy.
She didn't say a fucking thing in the first.
And at one point they said, then they show her, and I was like, nope, okay, so she's alive. Yeah. So you do that through the whole episode of like, so and so's alive. Okay, well if you're here, then you're alive. But you don't know as an adult. You start to put together there's got to be these clans that they're into, and it starts to click that. Well, that's probably still kept up through adulthood.
Yeah. Well, and then they say that they haven't seen some of them for a couple years. Like some of them, the survivors have gone underground and just like gotten away. And they have a reporter, or said she's a reporter, but it seems like she's a private investigator snooping around. Mm-hmm. So Selma Blair is like, you got to fucking take care of this shit to who is the senator lady? Tessa or Taya. Damn it.
Yeah, I'm looking up the cast now. So that's Melanie Linsky that says it to her, I think.
Oh, right.
Tawny Cypress. Yeah, Tysa.
Yeah,
so there's like one of them that's now running for state senator, and so they have a like late night diner meeting of like, hey, we agreed to never do anything that got us in the public eye. Like our vague ass nothing happened story only holds up if none of us write a book or have a tell all.
So I don't know what her thought process was as far as, you know, when people do political background checks to try and dig up dirt on their opponents. And I'm like, if you ate somebody in the fucking woods, maybe don't run for public office.
You don't think New Jersey politics is going to figure this out? Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Oh no, wait, you're running in. Oh wait, you're running in Tennessee. Okay, that's going to earn you points. No, that's fine. You're good.
So then, in the first episode, we watched Juliette Lewis, who I God, I hated her in her 20s. There's several movies in a row where I just cannot stand that actress. Where she just seems half awake, like she barely learned her lines, and it drives me insane. And she's definitely gotten better in the last couple of years for me. But I actually like her in this. She gets out of rehab in the first episode, goes to a storage unit, gets a Porsche and a shotgun, and immediately starts stalking one of the other characters. It's like, sold. I don't know what the fuck you're up to, but I'm watching it.
It's her last meeting, and she says, "You know what I found that helped me? Purpose." And then she goes to her storage unit. She gets a red-eye flight immediately the next day, goes to a storage unit, gets a gun, and is like, okay, well, I feel like this isn't going to go anywhere great, especially since they're all trying to lay low and not bring any attention to themselves.
Yeah, and then the flashbacks back to high school are all handled pretty well too. Like you get to see who's seems like has a crush on somebody else, or who's a druggy fuck up.
Well, I'm surprised we got to see Bone before they even hit the fucking airplane. That chick broke her leg on the soccer field.
Yeah, so they're getting ready to go to nationals, and they're a fucking highly competitive team, and they're discussing like one of the girls that just doesn't play very well, and they're going to freeze her out. She's not going to give her the ball, and everybody thinks it's shitty, but they're going to do it. And then they try it in practice, and
no, actually, really they don't try it at practice. The one girl,
they don't try it.
The one girl can't convince everybody else to do it. So what she does instead is be mean to her and to make her play under pressure.
We're gonna tough her up, yeah.
And ends up snapping her fucking leg in half.
Yes, like slides and trips her, and says later, like, I didn't really mean to, but man, it sure seems like it.
I don't know if you can I don't know if you can accidentally break someone's leg apart to where their femur is sticking out.
I don't think she intended to do it that bad. I don't think you could intentionally do it that bad. But yeah, it is a compound fracture, and they show the fuck out of it. I love their equipment manager, sees it, runs over, gets like a bandage, and starts to run back. And like the other girls look at her and are like, "What are you doing? Go to Coach So-and-so's office right now." Because she's like, "I'll apply pressure." She starts to to what? Don't touch that.
Maybe it won't be. Maybe it's not that bad, guys.
Oh yeah, yeah. So this looks vicious and fast paced and fucking crazy. I'm enjoying it.
The only thing I don't like is that the friend that we're following, but the main character we seem to be following, which is Jackie's friend, is not a very good person.
Shauna.
Yeah. Seems to be pretty insecure. Like I thought Jackie was going to be the one that we discovered was kind of shitty. But it turns out like her friend is cheating on her boyfriend with her and is giving her shit the entire time. Which I was like, wait a minute, why are you being such an asshole then if you are the one that's doing the cheating? And like, because you feel bad, I guess? Is this some reverse psychology sort of thing? I don't know. I thought that was odd for a character that I'm like, I don't know if it seems like you're going to spend a lot of time with her and I'm not very sympathetic towards her at all. It's lucky that I am very invested in some of these other characters like Natalie and Jackie and the girl that's from
Stranger Things. And is that where she's from? So
no. Oh no, wait. No, she's no wait. What am I thinking of? Damn it. No, Santa Clarita Diet.
Oh yes.
The daughter on that show. Yes. And
she's great.
Yeah, I think that actor actually came out as non-binary, right? Or am I thinking of someone else? Or am I thinking of the Stranger Things one?
Not sure. I
Damn it! Which white young 20-year-old that's trying to play the teenager am I thinking of?
Yeah, I can't remember her name.
Yeah,
she's the goalie.
Yeah. Yes. And the mom is an addict and slaps her awake, just like hauls off
and then dangles the keys. Yeah, like mom, come on.
I got a plane to catch.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this so far.
I liked it.
I will keep watching this for sure. It's the one thing out of this week's homework that I've recommended to someone else that like, no, you should start Yellowjackets. You should check that out.
I mean, unlike it takes a while for the plane to actually crash, but I actually like the character development they did on like Why the Last Man. And all these characters are going to be part of the plot, so like it doesn't, it's not like half the characters are going to fucking bite it by the next episode. So I'm actually interested in where they go. And it's not like Invasion because the plane actually crashes in the first episode.
Somebody actually, yes. Yeah, there
Hey,
are
did
actually.
anyone check? Is anyone invaded on the show called Invasion yet?
I have not checked back in.
At what point is
so
what point is that show's name false advertising?
Never. The Invasion was the friends we made along the way.
No, the invasion was the feelings that invaded our hearts the entire time.
There you go. There you go. Well, I think that about wraps up our television watching for the week. Cannot imagine what else we could possibly talk about. Definitely not Kyle's love for Eon Flux, which people can go back and
I can talk
find
about
on
it.
Patreon. So thank you, Nick. Thanks, Kyle, for being here.
Thank you, Les.
Thanks, Les. Fuck Kyle.
Oh.
No, Randy's not here. Randy's not here. Randy's not here. Yep, and you can see the effect it had on the show. TV Dudes out.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/TVDudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV dude Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.